Thank you so much, and my colleagues.
So glad that you're here, sir.
Thank you, Oster, and my senior statesman.
Yes,
Honorable Dombo.
I don't know.
Yes.
If you know, I'm about to tell Joseph that DP is in a mess. So
No,
UPC is in a mess, sorry, and I don't know.
I was beginning to research.
Not good.
So I'm not so sure what I'll say about DP. But and then we have Derek Wandera, journalist. You're most welcome to Gang.
Thank you, Oscar. It's always a pleasure being here.
Benjamin Katana, NUP Moneyman, you're in the studio.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Oscar. Good morning to you.
Good
Yes,
morning.
we are waiting for Dombo's contribution.
To NUP.
Yes.
Not for Don't make that official.
Okay, but the way you have devoured the breakfast, you make me fear. I don't know what's happening with NUP, but we are going to discuss. I have Mr. Philip Kakuru in the studio as well, Senior Presidential Advisor, Trade. You're most welcome to Gang, Mr. Kakuru.
Thank you.
First time you're here.
That's right.
Are you the one with as Dombo? You and Dombo, are you the people with security outside there? Are you the prisoners?
Not really. There's only one prisoner.
There's only one person here who has picked presidential nomination forms.
Probably they are securing
in UPC, you know, when we were last in government, our convoy was less than what is out there for these three gentlemen. That is official.
I think Joseph would never accept a convoy. It must be Kakurus and Dombos.
Yeah.
Because there's like
we are the people,
an army battalion outside the studio. I asked them about their prisoners, and that's you. But anyway. So, Honorable Dombo, seeing that you are in the latter stages of NRM elections, I'm going to give you a little bit of an off. You can have another samosa. And we start with Joseph Otieno here, who has taken up presidential form. So we are going to discuss opposition politics.
I've been incited.
Yeah. So you engage. So Joseph,
Yeah.
UPC is in a bother. Last week, the producer Patricia called me and said, you know, our friend Joseph is in a hot spot. Let's help him and air a show in which he features first. So you've picked up presidential forms as who?
This is absolutely an exciting time.
Really?
But it's also a very, very sad time. I never knew that in 2025 we would be discussing UPC from the perspective that you do. But it's extremely important to note that UPC is the earliest political organization before forming a party. In the 40s and 50s, mobilizing and organizing Ugandans and waking them up to the reality of claiming their nationhood and statehood.
You know, Joseph, you seem not to get along with President Museveni, but the way you answer questions, you're exactly like him. because you have noted, I don't know how long it's going to take you to answer what I've asked, which is, you picked up presidential nomination forms as who? Because there's Akena. President Akena, so I should say.
The excellent judicial system in this country, particularly led by Lady Justice Irene Mlegonji, in a fantastic ruling in 2020, September 7th, quite clearly dismissed Jim Akena's position. He's a fantastic brother of mine, and ordered that Uganda People's Congress holds fresh elections. I picked nomination forms. I was delighted that I got nominated. I participated in elections around COVID. Got massively elected. People played mathematics. I think some people learned from the Dombos a little bit. Played with the figures. I chose that instead of going to the bush against Walubiri and causing Hemen in UPC and in Kampala, I sought to go to court. I sought a judicial review March 2021, and unfortunately that matter has now gone before 4 different judges and is coming for a hearing this coming week. I am quite confident that it will be disposed of in my favor as indeed elected president of Uganda People's Congress. In that application, I also sought for a permanent injunction against Mr. Akena on the basis of really the Justice Mleagonja's ruling. Turns out that Akena had not participated in our elections, went on really contemptuously to continue holding on to Uganda House, organized his own elections, and more recently he again organized some mini elections separate freely from the mainstream of the party. Hence, you'd call him president in that sense. I chose deliberately not to form a government because I didn't want to bring disorder. UPC fought for independence. UPC fought against Idi Amin. UPC established the only democratic government in this country. And UPC fought for return to multipartyism. And as you know, Oscar, I returned from exile in 2005 following UPC's defeating NRA in courts, killing, together with DP, killing Article 269 that banned political parties. So we should be able to respect the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress and the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
Going back to again my question. So you picked up nomination forms from the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
And they gave you those forms on what basis? That you're the nominated officer of UPC?
Can you imagine anybody in the Republic of Uganda who doesn't know Joseph Ochieno as UPC and representing Uganda People's Congress?
So the Electoral Commission knows.
Isn't it only you who once upon a time, many times taunted me as the most optimist of Uganda People's Congress, and I extend the optimism of the Republic of Uganda? So no, I picked nomination forms. Yeah. But you're right. I think you're right that Jimmy's representatives picked nomination forms. How that is done, that's a matter for Electoral Commission, and I think it's a challenge how the Electoral Commission deals with this quite clearly a judicial issue, and in particular a matter of contempt of court.
So as the Electoral Commission has given you both nomination forms.
I cannot answer for Jim Akena. I cannot answer.
You have received.
I cannot answer for Jim Akena, and I cannot answer for anybody else. All I know is that this is a matter. I picked up forms.
So did you pay 20 million? Did you pay 20 million to get those forms?
Apparently, the 20 million is when you're returning these nomination forms.
Right.
A future UPC government would review whether or not people should be able to pay a huge amount of money like that, just like like our friends in NUP.
First finish Watson.
Yeah.
So when you return the forms, you're going to pay 20 million on it, even though that last court has not spoken yet.
Oh no,
you have 20 million ready to pay.
Our expectation is that this matter should be resolved really within the next few days and few weeks. Legally and others, but at the same time I also must put it on record that I'm actually quite open to conversations, and all, interestingly, including Mr. Akena and Mr. Olobiri, and I think the young Mr. Knapp who's around. I think there's conversations going on, and we hope in one way or another we shall be able to resolve this matter, whether legal or otherwise. Yes.
Jimmy Akena says you're the president of UPC in the media. Now you have to prove it. You have to get 98 signatures, I think 100 signatures from 98 districts. So how far have you gone? Because I think the window is very short.
No, the window is short, but I was part of Mama Miriam's team, and we got signatures within a very short period of time. Look, it's not a personal merit polity that the manuals have entrenched. It is a politics of pluralism and multipartyism. Yeah. When I get nomination forms, it's not Joseph Ochieno's Uganda People's Congress, and I can tell you it's absolutely easy for us to be.
How many signatures do you have so far?
We got nomination forms yesterday. I just told you that we need to be able to resolve this matter judicially, and we'll take it from there. I think it's
urgent. Enough time to get the signatures?
There's reasonably enough time to get the signatures. The issues not be signatures. The issue is how and whether we're able to translate the signatures into votes. And the issue is whether or not we're able to get the spaces in minus armed men to be able to allow us and others to articulate our clear issues, and so that we're able to present our programs side by side with all other political colleagues against Mr. Emmanuel Dombo's group of 40 years, and I'm sure that the UPC programs will be the most popular program in town.
Okay, we wish you luck. As I said, and I say always, you are one of the most optimistic politicians I've come across, and it does need optimism. Wouldn't you agree, Honorable Mbide, that this is a time when optimism is needed, especially for UPC? Before I ask you about the DP.
Certainly. Of course, I don't feel good for my brothers of the UPC. because it looks like they have choreographed a different battle from the battle we should have headed for. And by the time they are done with that battle, I am sure they will all be tired, but having achieved almost nothing in the substantive battle. So I sympathize with my brothers. We have been there, and I can tell you it is not a very good environment to be in.
Yes. So I like the way you summarized a lot of work and getting nothing.
You see, there was one time somebody was addressing the University of Chorishu in Japan. He was a lawyer, and that lawyer was me. I was giving them a talk. So I said, I asked all of the girls, whoever is dating a lawyer, please raise up your hand. And whoever is not, please raise up your standards. So it really meant a lot, because there was the interpreter who got also fixed up. She didn't know what exactly to interpret and how to interpret. But those are universities that have now adopted the international standards of also learning English in Japan. It is surprising. There is a hell lot of the unknown to do with Africa in countries like Japan. I used to think they really know a lot about us, until somebody asked me, so you come from Uganda? They were looking at the map, and these were university students. And in their imagination, they thought the moment you disembark from an aircraft at Entebbe, lions keep passing all over you. And so she was asking me, don't they bite you? Don't they? So that is the picture they have about our countries. And for purposes of entertainment, the MC announced that somebody who's going to entertain me is actually known to me. So I waited to see which person. I thought the musicians from Uganda, from where. A Congolese dancer was brought, and they were asking me whether I don't know him. He comes from Congo also.
So
there is a lot of the unknown in the population to do with what is going to happen in the next election. But what is known also among us, the protagonists in politics, is actually what we don't tell. But what we know is that clearly the same announcement is going to be done, almost the same template of 2021. It's going to be done this time, probably with a lot more security around those announcing, security around those competing, which might be elongated further for fear of walk to work, and the same story. Why? We did not work together. We did not lay ground for an election. Yet we are telling the population we are heading for an election. So for me, I don't know. To me, it looks like one person climbing a mango tree looking for oranges. When he is corrected that oranges don't grow on a mango tree, he insists that that is why I'm coming down. So for me, you are still talking, but clearly the results are the same. You find all our political
what are you
parties,
saying? Should we give up?
There is going to be no election within the precincts of the presidency. What the Honorable Dombos have also showed us in the NRM primaries is also going to be, it is a replica, it is a prognostic of what is going to happen. If they themselves have hit themselves that much, that means for us on the opposition, we shall have to work with helmets. So because they have clobbered themselves, but we still have our own parties moving all over with all such bravado and braggadocio, saying we are so big and we are going to win the man. Who? He has established an electoral commission, personally, that will count the votes and announce the winner. He has picked forms so that he wants to be the winner. He has a political party. In his political party, all the important positions are appointed by him. There is nobody here who is elected in his political party. And the police, the army, clearly, all institutions have been arranged in terms of puppetry, muppetry, parrotry. They speak what he has said. So really, if we want the examples of Namibia, then we have to choreograph a constitutional, a process of arriving at an electoral commission the same as theirs, which clears some bit of allegiance, and not to the candidate, but to a few other institutions. When you want to go to Mozambique, at least Parliament participates in establishing an electoral commission. When you go to Kenya, at least even a coalition of parties participates, and the law society. But here it is one man.
But
he is going to count his vote.
So today, I dedicated the beginning of the show to opposition parties. Now let's leave that one man and go to the DP.
DP.
I don't see that there's any difference.
Now let me get
there's a perception with UPC. You see, there's a perception that you two are in a mess. Your leader has gone to NRM. You also have a faction. You belong to, I guess, the other faction that has not gone to NRM. So you might be in the same position as Joseph is.
I am the vice president of DP.
Which DP?
I have a president who I deputize, who is now a minister.
Right.
We have got our own internal problems. They are very deadly. Even on Tuesday, I have a meeting with him. I am not anxiously waiting for a situation where I deliver a minister to the Electoral Commission to nominate against his master, saying that this one is better. And, for me, I speak frankly. So I speak, and those are the problems that we have. The whole political strata of political parties in Uganda cannot be assessed in disregard of the participation of the ruling government. Every political party has actually been dissected into two. He has had a limb in every political party. There are parties where the limbs now have choreographed into political parties themselves. Now every village has a party.
Because what Joseph does not acknowledge.
For us, he has not created the party, but he took the engine. So
out of the party.
We signed an agreement thinking that actually we were to address in limine the ideals of establishing a free and fair election in the future by rearranging and amending laws of Uganda. Little did we know that it was going to turn out into a PR disaster. So for him, he knew what he wanted. He had what we wanted, but all he wanted was a signature page, and he puts a signature for PR purposes against us and for him. So we are not dealing with a process that we can promise the population that will give good results in the future. So if you want facts, invite him midday. If you don't, invite other people. But for me, I speak facts even against my own self.
The last fact. So what are you doing about the other DP, Dr. Baiga's DP?
No, there is no other DP. Incidentally, in Uganda, all political parties were registered, are actually regulated under the law. So you cannot run any outfit, any entity outside the law. That is why my brother here is heading for a correction under the reviews. There must be a substantive order now given by courts of law in terms of determining who actually leads DP, because the Political Parties and Organizations Act under particularly Section 6 are bodies corporate. It's like even if you get angry here, Oscar, you cannot create a new Capital FM. It will definitely not be under the register of companies. So that is the way it is. I do not know, but the last I heard in newspapers was that the Honorable Baiga, I think, probably must have moved to another party. You see, in a political party, and it is of course a problem that for 19 years parties were banned. So most of our people are actually novices in terms of running political parties. They do not know that a decision of the party is sacrosanct. For example, me, I disagree with decisions, but I am still in the party. I even looked for Mao's votes because I know he is the best president, and he is the best nature, cannot be determined on a wrong decision. Which decision becomes wrong merely because of the recipient? There are two people who signed the agreement. Majorly, of course, you're living along with the Secretaries General. It was the President of the Republic of Uganda and the President of the Democratic Party. You cannot crucify Honorable Norbert Mao for breaches that were orchestrated by another person. You cannot. So clearly, those that were making judgments against him were wrong. So what we are saying, in DP, it is one party.
On what you're saying.
One person once told me that DP is now a dead party. I said, why? You call it dead?
No.
Unless death is our style of life.
But people would say it is struggling.
But be faulted for being an accomplice
for the other one who has breached.
And before you answer that one, Honorable Mbidi, before you
Yes.
answer that one, there's also the case engaging in a fight with the Baigas and so on. The way Joseph is engaging with the fight with the Akenas. Really, you can see Dombo has smiled, he has taken another samosa.
Yes, he's happy.
He's happy.
But also, Honorable Dombo knows, he needs to know, I don't know whether he knows, but he needs to know that the problem we have in Uganda is not just against DP, UPC, and NUP. It is against all political parties, including NRM. NRM is also a party on the opposition.
Yeah.
They just can't say it. If you have gone through their primaries, I have been lucky enough to have been instructed by some of their losers in primary elections to argue their cases. I have looked at a situation where even they themselves are claiming that certain forces actually propelled other persons to win. So, which means that there is some outfit that is actually also not in conformity with what NRM as a party would have actually willed. That what they call NRM as a party is not in government. It is only used spasmodically, intermittently, as a uniform when they are going for.
I like the big words.
Yes, when they are going for certain activities. For example, there is going to be a nomination. The president will need NRM.
Yeah.
It is a thin veneer. As you look at this furniture, for example, this is the best furniture. But there is furniture, majorly Chinese, which is covered by a thin veneer. It looks so nice. But if you removed that thin veneer, the furniture inside is a complete nuisance. So NRM is also being used as a uniform. It is a thin veneer to cover what is inside. What is inside can be traced in their constitution. When you look at the preamble, NRM was formed in 2005. But the preamble gives details of their achievements that date back beyond 1979. Now that means there is some other. It is also being used as a puppet, but there is a puppet master who actually is inside, who is determining the movement of the jaws.
So today let's focus on the opposition, and there are two NRM people here. They will respond.
So we are suffering as NRM is suffering as a party.
Okay.
NUP is suffering as a party. UPC.
I want to go to NUP.
And the President Yoweri Museveni and the government are actually not innocent in that suffering.
Benjamin Katana, you've seen, I don't know whether it's misery to begin with the UPC, misery in DP, and now NUP. At least you do not have overt splits, but you have a vice chairman who went away to form his own party.
Exercised his freedom as a citizen.
Yes, and went away to form his own party. So at least he's not competing within NUP like DP and UPC are doing. But so far, how is it going with NUP?
I think the misery is best described as it is Uganda that is going through misery, not UPC or DP. But you know, the Igbo of Nigeria have a proverb that a man who doesn't know where rain started beating him from cannot know where he dried his body from. And I think the most important question to ask ourselves is, where did this begin from? There are problems in political parties, and I think my colleagues have elaborately talked about that. But political parties generally thrive in an environment that is democratic in nature, because political parties are aspects of a democracy. Now, in Uganda, if you look at parameters of the closest it can become, you can say it is a pseudo-democracy, where you create an impression, and I think he has given a very good example. You go and think that you are buying gold-coated furniture, but the furniture you're buying is not gold-coated. So that is the nature of democracy that we that you have in Uganda. You have largely non-existent democracy, but then you have institutions that should operate in a democratic environment. So you cannot expect them to operate normally. So the political parties, amidst all those challenges, must try to do certain things, like the processes that have been talked about. And so those are the processes that we are currently doing.
With. But I see Dombo is looking at you, Benjamin Katana, and is thinking Museveni has done some great work. Because like the other politicians...
For Uganda or for himself?
No, the way people address... because also you have not yet gotten to the question I've asked you. Where are you as NUP?
That's why I said if you don't know where the rain started from, because context is important. Yeah, so those processes, and I was coming to that point, those are the processes that we are now involved in. Because we are going into an election, we are in an election season, so we are in the process now of identifying candidates for the political party at different levels. We are also preparing for the elections. That's why when we started the show, you were asking about the fundraising. Unfortunately, we are yet to receive your contribution, but the process is on. We, in as far as identification of candidates is concerned, we are in almost the final stages, and I think by the time we go to nominations, we will have completed that process. But that said,
this time round, do you think you will be able to cover all of Uganda for at least parliamentary seats?
Yes, we should be able to do that. In fact, that's why we have even extended the period, because we were supposed to be concluding that process at the end of this month. But because of the work involved, the workload involved, we have had to extend to 15th September. What you must note, and I think it has been, this is not happening without much difficulty. We are doing this, but with a lot of difficulty. I think the other day you saw when our team was trying to conduct a fundraising activity in Mubende, how they were disrupted. That has a relationship with what my brother here was talking about, the creation of factions in UPC, the creation of factions in other political parties, because the nature of politics we are involved in does not favor the growth of political parties. You have the NRM people, like one of the panelists has mentioned, they are also largely in opposition. It is you know, when you read, if you have been a follower of the politics of Uganda, you remember even when we were under the movement system, there were those candidates that were supported. Even in NRM, there are candidates that are supported as opposed to other candidates within the processes. And these complaints have been coming through, pointing to what I mentioned, that the environment in which we are operating, so you have a fusion of the state with the man that is running the country. And he has taken advantage of that fusion to disrupt and cause confusion in political parties, using state money, not personal money.
So on that disruption, Benjamin, yes, I keep coming back to NUP because I want NUP talk today and other opposition parties.
Yes.
So in the last election, your principal could not campaign in many places.
Yes.
So what's your plan for this political season? I saw that he couldn't campaign in several places. In Arua, he was arrested, taken to court in Gulu. So what is the plan for this time round?
I think the reality has not changed. It can only get worse.
So will
but
he campaign
certainly he will. But there are two options. One is to surrender, which we are not going to do. The other is to fight on. And fighting on requires that you think more creatively and innovatively. And so this campaign, we are going into it well knowing the realities on ground, that he's going to be disrupted, he's going to be arrested. His supporters now, it's even before nominations, many of his supporters are in jail. Yeah. His bodyguards are in jail on trumped-up charges in a very glaring abuse of court process. So, and that's the process that we are going through, and Emmanuel Domba and the rest here will come and say we have won. Like they are saying, we have won. Yeah, so
there was also a death threat over his head.
Continuously from the Chief of Defense Forces, and that's the fusion I mentioned, that you have the state and the head of state now fused into one person, and by extension, the children, the spouse, the family members of the head of state and the rest, they now think they can use state institutions to undermine, belittle, and disrupt the opponents of the father.
And in your campaigns, how are you going to protect the MPs? Do you have a plan for how they will go out to campaign? I had a walk about 3 weeks ago in Entebbe, and I only saw 2 posters of NUP.
Because
all the other posters were yellow.
Because they keep removing them. Before we started the show, one of the NRM people was also complaining about his posters being removed. But it has become common practice that the posters of our people are always removed. One is that we do not have a private army to protect these MPs. But like I mentioned, the option is either to surrender or fight on. And the option we have chosen is to fight on amidst all those challenges.
So in
and
Buganda,
we'll keep going.
In the last election, Buganda had NUP and DP, and Busoga had NUP mostly. Do you see NUP retaking these positions and also getting spaces out of these regions?
Very much so. Very much so. Like I mentioned,
you can imagine NUP in Ankole,
Very much so, and we have candidates in all those places in Ankole. You see,
whenever we look at you as treasurer of NUP, we keep thinking, what has happened to this man?
You see, the point is that the good thing, when we started previously, people said this is a wave. Now the discussion is that will NUP be able to extend beyond the Uganda and Busoga, and the answer is yes. And I'm very confident that will and even the NRM people here are aware that even in those places NUP is very strong. That's why they cannot allow us to campaign there. That's why you will not even be allowed to address any gathering there, because they are cognizant of the strength across the country, that it's not restricted in Buganda and Busoga like their propaganda machinery would want to propose.
Thank you, Benjamin Katana. I'm going to go to the NRM people. I'm saving Derek Wandera for the second topic that requires journalism. But Abdul Katuntu is in the studio. Most welcome. I hope my directions were useful for you. I did announce on air that I was giving you a route to use.
It was quite useful.
It was quite useful.
Yeah.
Right. I will not charge you for that. Honorable Dombo, you have really enjoyed the show. You had an extra samosa as you watched the opposition parties. You even forgot the troubles you yourself had in the primaries, because without the similar troubles, it seems that the opposition is unfolding before your eyes.
Well, I don't know why they are in disarray, but to me, one thing came to my mind when I listened to them talk, because when the president promised and NRM promised securing the future of Ugandans and creating democratic institutions and space, some people thought it was a joke. But here you are. You are getting people going to pick nomination forms, people raising their concerns about the processes, but also taking cognizance that we have institutions of government which can be used to resolve some of the matters. So for us in the National Resistance Movement, we are very proud that the future of the people is being secured. After the last elections, the president of the National Unity Platform came up with a very extreme statements how he will never participate in an election organized under the similar circumstances because there is this problem. He enumerated a lot of them. And when you see him at the end of the day changing his heart, coming back, and he's setting his machinery to go and participate in the elections, you know that we are on a progressive path. Because even when we have challenges, collectively we can work on them and improve the democratic space in the country. For the other ones, everybody who gets into challenges accuses us. My brother here, Abdul Katuntu, is one of the very senior legislators and the people whose brains I used to enjoy when I was in Parliament. And at that time he was a member of the FDC. I don't know where he is now. And whoever is chased,
he may also not know where he is. but when Honorable Dombo, your own principal also once said in the old days that he would not participate in any elections.
Yeah, until he went and created a status quo that
which he controls, allows him to organize his own election.
where the people of Uganda, or where the power belongs to the people of Uganda, who will use it to determine who their leaders should be. So I don't think we have internal challenges in every organization, even in the national resistance movement, even in the families, people have challenges. The only difference is how we resolve those matters and where we resolve them. In the NRM, unlike some of these parties, we still have an advantage because we have the founding principal, whose and the organization has exploited the advantage of his longevity, his seniority, and his wisdom. Now, his presence enables us to progressively keep the members of the party to know the values of the organization, to look at the future, why the organization went to the bush in the first place, and also what we must do in order to sustain the democracy, either internally or within the country.
Honorable Dombo, it's been a struggle for me on this table to keep people on opposition parties. Even you are not there. In your opinion, should we have opposition parties? And I expect you to say that we should have opposition parties. So if we do have them, why do you stop them? Why don't you facilitate them? Why can't you let opposition people campaign? Why can't you stand up and say, stop harassing them?
Is anybody being stopped?
Yes.
Who?
Regularly. NUP especially. NUP.
Because what I know, I'll give just specific examples. During the last elections, you said the NUP could not go to certain places, but even the NRM couldn't, because it was a COVID period. It was a COVID period. We couldn't. That was the environment. That was the environment that existed.
They couldn't go because it was COVID.
Because there was COVID, and because there was COVID, the cartoon tools in Parliament developed what they called COVID regulations, including making provisions for the extension of the leadership of political parties.
I like you, Honorable Dombo. But Honorable Dombo, let me pause you here and go to Philip Kakuru. You see, you and I, we are going to be here in the studio during this election period. So I will be bringing examples to you. When these people have gone to their campaigns, it is the first one I've had.
You know, when we were, my first degree was mass communication. When we were being trained, we were told that if you were a communicator, you must train yourself in what we call hyperbole. You should be able not to distinguish between a sheep and a goat. So,
and you know, I know you like words, but that word you must say it hyperbole.
Yeah.
You are the only one person I know who likes to say things as they should be. So when you say hyperbole, that's Luganda. When you go to hyperbole, yes.
No, I came from Kaboko. That is a pronunciation problem.
So
it still remains Mukasambi.
A man from Lakai.
Mr. Philip Kakuru.
Yes, sir.
Senior Presidential Advisor Trade with a police escort as well. So, are you going to stand for political office? Have you stood in the NRM primaries?
Yes, thank you.
Where did you stand?
I'm standing for Entrepreneurs League Chairperson,
okay,
which has a correlation with the mandate that I have, which is on trade. And
so this election will happen next weekend?
That's correct, on the 25th.
Right. Okay. So we wish you luck on that one. Today, that's not our discussion. Our discussion today is the opposition. Now, you as an NRM person, first you disputed Mbidde's assertion that most positions in NRM are appointed, but you yourself are appointed.
I'm a contestant. I'm a contestant in an electoral process.
You've been appointed.
That's correct. Yeah. But in a party politics, I'm a contestant. It's why we are subjecting ourselves to the party members to decide who becomes a league chairperson, a person to represent the party at a Central Executive Committee.
Okay. And now on to opposition politics. Do you think we should have opposition politicians in Uganda? And if we do, why do you allow their harassment to go on without saying anything?
I think the NRM ideals of the 4 principles of democracy allows them to participate. So that answers the question, should we have opposition? Because opposition allows a political space of discussion of issues. Like he has explained, you've had all of them participating in the political process. They have explored the processes of democracy that we brought from Mr. Cheno, who uses the court, to Mr. Mbide's leader, who's part of a government. I will put on record that I think the NRM has been the most accommodative government that Uganda has ever had, not the UPC, because the NRM government has been the most accommodative government in this republic that we've ever had. Because from its inception, you can look at the leaders from different factions, whether it was DP from the days of Mutagamba, to the Semo Geredes, to the Omala Tubos from your UPC, to the Abu Mayan. So you can see that we've been accommodative and we continue to accommodate. Why do we do that?
I mean, even now, you have UPC.
We have UPC and DP with us. So that tells you that that's a democratic process, that we are focused on nation building through engagement, process, and being able to tap people with good brains, that we can build a country together. And I think that's where we have it ahead of many other political parties. So we welcome them. You might find that Mbide by 2031, like he said, 2026, I think our president stands a high chance of winning. We are not looking at that. We are looking at 2036, actually. So to give people hope that the old man with the hat is still here. So we are just assuring them that 2026, you can organize your UPC, the DP, and the NUP, that we see how you can come to build the country together with those great ideas. And if you
as Mbide said, we know what their announcement will say, at least for presidential candidates. Honorable Katuntu, we've had a discussion. I hope you were listening in.
Yes, I was.
It was very difficult to get these gentlemen here to speak about the opposition. So I hope you will. This time round in the 2026 election, how will the opposition fare? Do they have a chance at least to campaign better than they had before?
Which party has a chance to campaign?
Right, they may not have a chance.
Not even NRM. Not even NRM. So please. It's very disingenuous of anybody to imagine that you can talk about opposition and political parties in isolation. What has just gone on during the NRM structure elections and NRM primaries exactly shows you what parties are today. And I dare say that tomorrow you are going to have more independent candidates in the history of this country. I just came back only this morning, but I can tell you in my constituency, from councillors of sub-counties to district councillors to ward, they are all saying they are coming as independent. Why? Because the system was very, very unfair and undemocratic. In fact, the evidence, which is that the most prominent evidence, is the President Museveni's communication, saying this is unacceptable. And anybody who stands up with a straight face to tell you about we've been more democratic, we have been more accommodative. If I were a wordsmith like my brother Mbide, I would not say NRM. Did you say your Kenneth? Is fell. Would you say accommodative?
Yeah, that's correct.
No, it is not that. But what NRM has done, and you need to give them credit, it has conscripted. That's the English word, the correct English word. So,
conscripted, recruited,
come on,
recruited.
It's a force.
But
let me tell you, and it goes back to 1986, when many people actually didn't believe in the NRM. And yet the law said, legal notice number 1, all of us were NRM by law, whether you wanted it or not. And if you wanted to participate in the political process, you had to subject to the NRM rules. So that is conscription. However, having said that, I don't think political parties in this country, and I'm really convinced because I've been part of them, they all lack ideological basis. All of them. NRM, DP, UPC, and UP, all of them. Just look at them and say, okay, between DP and UPC as now, what is the political difference? To me, who is like an ordinary voter, which is on the table and I must choose? Political difference, ideological. Is it an economics policy? So, for us, we want to handle it this way. Oscar, let me tell you the most interesting. If you ask NUP, they said the first thing I'm going to do is to fight corruption. Yes? Because corruption is bad. Everybody knows corruption is bad. Ask NRM Mudombo. Kisanda kuna mchezo. We are not going to allow corruption. Ask my brother Ochen. We have some DNA problems, me and him. We come from the same roots.
For him, he's going to recover.
So all I will tell you, this country, the problem is corruption. Ask them the difference in where they intend to handle it. And you don't see any message. For you as an ordinary voter, say, by the way, because corruption is a cancer, this party seems to present a better alternative in fighting it, other than blah, blah, blah. So to me, the issue is all our parties, and it's, by the way, it's not about maybe Uganda, but the continent has that problem.
Kenya as well.
They lack ideology, and Kenya has done it well. Kenya is more real. I don't want to miss this point.
Okay.
Kenya, and I've said this before, has not lied itself. They don't have political parties in this sort of fashion we have, this modulo we are hearing in Uganda. What they have are special purpose vehicles. 5 years, they move around. Dombo is here, Katuntu is here, blah, blah. They present themselves. After 5 years, it's all over. Now, disbanded, and then you go for another 5 years. Then Ocheno is the other side. They don't tell. They are not lying to their citizens. Say, for us who want to manage this country in these 5 years, and me and Dombo now on this one, we are talking the same thing. Me and Mr. Katana, we are now, let us be in this group. Then Mr. Mbide, Philip, and Oscar are in the other group. And after 5 years, go home.
Joseph hasn't formed the government yet.
Joseph was once in government. Yeah. Yes. But and there are things he will tell you, A, B, C, D, which even if his grandkid was to be born next week.
Let's stop for a break and you pick it up. Welcome back. Welcome. We have some humor in the break. We'll come back from a break. Honorable Katuntu, sure. I want to take you up on what you said. True, I agree. This so far in what we've seen of election, no one is bothered with ideology. But two, why do you think even NRM candidates will not be free to campaign? Because what we saw in the primaries, I have not seen any of the candidates being charged for the violence they meted out on opponents. So what makes you think they'll not be able to campaign either?
Because you see, when they are doing it as a family, they can do anything, but they don't want to take that process, whether you can't beat each other and so on. The worst could have been if that happened within the political parties are involved. People would be in jail, people would be in what, but not those who would not be in jail will not be Philip. It would be now those against Philip.
The opposition.
Yeah. So to me, what has happened in the NRM primaries, and you need to brace for it. Don't lie yourselves. We are going to have more of that. We are going to have more of that. And I'll give you an example. Many of the guys who are coming say, we are going to stand as independents. They are not praising the NRM as a political party, as a democratic party, which Philip and my brother, Honorable Dombo, wants the country to believe. Actually, they are saying this is the most undemocratic party because, and they go and give the details. Fortunately for this country, and fortunately for the modern times, we have a social media. You see, everything happened. We knew, we saw, we felt, we smelled. It was there. That somebody will have 5 liters of waragi in a jerrycan and say, come here. They pour some, so go and vote. Can you imagine? And Philip says that's democracy. Or somebody come a line here, then he starts distributing, and somebody says, something like that happened in Remiyaga. Because these are the things, for us who talk about the history of this country, we should be ashamed of. Say, under this regime, which fought a very, very bitter outcome. How can this sort of thing happen? That's why I'm happy with President Museveni that he didn't just say it within their group, but he became public about it to tell us, you people, this is not acceptable. Why I'm not happy with people like Philip and Honorable Dombo is that they go ahead and just fight. It's wrong. You see,
but also he didn't give a solution. He just told them to repent.
Well, that is also a solution if you are a believer in God. But
No.
I think
someone else must be blamed, not him. Has been his script.
He just said repent.
yeah, at least that's another matter. But at least he and many of us were on the same page that something is not correct. Now, what you are asking is, what do we do as a country? That's when you ask him. Now you're the president and the biggest political party. What do you do? But the biggest problem, as I see it, is when you fuse the state with the political party. It's a very, very big problem. Like I'm sure Philip knows that the office of the RDC, the office of the district internal security officer, and the office of the district police commander literally ran these elections of yours. Everywhere you go,
They were keeping law and order.
please. Then there would have no. Then we would not have been breaking down the law and order if they were keeping it. They were actually the problem. They were actually the problem. Everybody is complaining. The NRM. By the way, many of your colleagues are bitter, and you might even have defections. Why?
Defecting to where? To a fragmented UPC?
No.
A dysfunctional
By
DP?
the way, let me ask you.
I actually have one from NRM, and I will not mention. But
Okay, maybe
I have a big one.
I don't
NRM,
look
yes.
at that, Joseph.
Really?
Everybody who is saying is standing as an independent is a defector.
Yeah. Yes.
Everybody. Why? Because it offends even the NRM party constitution.
Thank you,
get
Abdul.
it? He's a defector. So,
Yeah.
But
don't
there is
say to
individual
why are they
melt.
already there?
Thank
There's
you,
individual
Abdul.
melt.
Derek Wandera, in this upcoming election, do you see any role for the opposition? Are they going to be clobbered and battered? Do you envisage a parliament that only has 10% opposition?
I want
They will move with the
Go on.
arguments.
I want to borrow Honorable Abdukantu's school of thought that everyone is going to be clobbered, not just the opposition. Because
Philip Kakuru here moves with the police escort.
the
I'm not sure how you
the
clobber
Sechikugos are not in the opposition, for instance. And the Prime Minister is not in the opposition, but they have equally been clobbered. And I am not in opposition as a journalist, but I've been clobbered. We've been clobbered. So the country doesn't offer any protection to anyone, except maybe the Kakurus who move with their guns. But who knows that the guns will turn against them one time? Because we've seen ministers being
With that,
Yes.
please. That's not correct.
the ministers being fired at by their own guards. So we're in mayhem.
or former police officers being tackled by
You know. So
soldiers.
this mess can only increase when we go into elections. When I was covering the last election, presidential elections, I was on the team of the NUP, and that's the one I was covering. I saw the mess from the first minute of the election to the very last minute of the election of the campaigns. At some point, I was forced to write a story that compared the first day and the last day. Honorable Chagulanyi's last campaign was in Eastern, I think in Bali, and I saw when he was setting off from Kampala the kind of convoy he had and the kind of people who were around him. But on the last day here, he rose on his car almost empty-handed. No one was here to chant his people power slogan. He only could do it alone. because all the people around him had been arrested and were in either Masaka or Chitalia or wherever. And I'm very sure that the Honorable Dombo also is aware that many of his MPs will suffer the same. Many of them will have their campaign managers arrested because of what we've seen as a precursor in the NRM primaries. It just mirrors exactly what's going to happen, and even more. A small election in Kawempe caused the whole country to come to a standstill. Now, how much more can we then expect in the coming election?
And you know what? The president is throwing money at things at the ghetto. So was it 1 billion before? Now is it 5 billion? So will he win? Will Yellow win in Kampala City?
I think the president has been intentional on going to the ghetto. Remember in the 2021 election, he actually at some point called himself the man of the ghetto. And we saw him entering into the ghettos of Kamocha, the ghettos of Kawempe.
He has also sung songs.
And he has also sung songs. And he has also been very, very happy to become an artist at some point. But that is not coming from anywhere. It's not falling from heaven. It's because there is someone probably who has awakened the people of the ghetto to begin also coming to the table to bargain for their cake of the nation.
But any leader would now do what President Museveni is doing.
Oscar, absolutely.
Hold on, let him finish. I'm coming to you. Let him just finish this.
Throwing monies,
giving him another minute.
Throwing monies to the ghetto, in my view, is not good enough. You probably want to do more of empowering the people in the ghetto, not just throwing some crabs to them. Okay. At the end of the day, they come out. For me, empowering doesn't mean maybe just get set. For me, empowering is inspiring these people. At some point,
Philip Kakuri is telling you they've had workshops.
There are workshops, skilling workshops.
They're not workshops.
You
need to give them some credit. They have not just thrown money at them. They have engaged them, they have organized them. And by the way, if you follow political processes and you ignore what they are doing in the ghettos, you'll be making a big mistake.
Let's go to Katana.
For me, just as I conclude, for me, I feel that what the NRM is doing is very reactionary. 40 years in power, and you're doing that in 2025, begs a lot of questions. Where have you been? What has kept the ghettos in the state within which they are? So for me, being reactionary is one thing, but also planning for every Ugandan is very important.
I should tell you, Abdul and Derek, I went to the Barbers last week before Uganda played the match, and on Monday before Uganda match, and the barber said to me, I said, why aren't you wearing your Uganda shirt? I said, this is your country, not ours. So
Oscar
I just wanted to make one quick comment, Oscar.
To Benjamin Katana. No, let me focus it on a question.
Yes.
Do you think you're finished now? Because there have been overt actions to take away Kampala from opposition, from NUP.
They are not new, and I'm very confident that the people of Kampala and other parts of Uganda are able to look through these machinations, because these are just like PDM, just like Wanabagagaware. These are not initiatives that are intended to empower the citizens, but just hoodwink them for purposes of getting political support. But the money being thrown in the ghetto now, I can say with confidence that it is not intended to win elections in the ghetto. But because Museveni knows he's going to rig like he has rigged before, and we have been rallying people that if there is rigging, protect your votes. So he's worried about protests. And that's, if you have been listening to Damulira, don't listen to these people from the NRM. These are also outsiders. Listen to the army and the police.
Who is Damulira?
This one, because he's the one who commands. It is being run by two people, the ghetto structure. General Damulira and another one called Major Kutesa. I don't think these are in any structures of NRM, but there is a fusion of NRM and the state. So their message is largely about that. So they are trying to make sure that even if there is discontent, people do not, the people who should have been at the forefront of expressing discontent, the disempowered, unemployed young people in the city, are now in their pocket. That's the plan.
Let me get a quick comment. Yes, a quick comment from
one
you. Then I'll go to
my brother Wandela, saying that they have not empowered really the ghetto. I would agree with Katinto. You're being with Comrade Abdul Katuntu here, that you're being disingenuous. They've skilled these people. They've empowered them in some form of shops, workshops, and everything. And what do we need in addressing the society's structural problems? Number one is economics. The issue of resources and how you empower one. So when you tell me that setting up a workshop, giving them startup businesses is not one of empowering them, really, I do not understand you. To Comrade Katana, you are saying we are throwing money out there. We are not just throwing money out there. We are trying to bring people into the financial inclusion.
Yeah.
We are trying to bring them because the nature of the economy determines the kind of situation you're seeing out there.
Kakuru, I think you're right on those things. The question is, why have you waited until the election time to do them? Because you are the leaders of the country.
This process has been ongoing on to bring the ghettos out there. When we saw what happened in 2021, there were issues that we were dealing with. You see, building a society does not start from anywhere. When you look at when we came, there was no peace. Let people first sleep, we safeguard them. So when we've safeguarded them, then we look at the infrastructure. There must be some form of economic activity that was done and reestablish the economy. So when we are done, you look at the socio-economic transformation, because that socio-economic transformation could not proceed peace. Peace had to come first, then we go to the socio-economic transformation agenda. Thank you.
There's I'd like just the three gentlemen to give a comment, then we move from this topic. Each one die. So Busoga Informed tells you if Mbide and his Norbert Mao had any morality, even as
No, I'm missing out on now.
Yeah, let the man concentrate. If Mbide and his Mao had any morality, even as lawyers, or humanity of a politician, given his talk here, he should tell Mao to resign today instead of preparing to escort Museveni's minister to stand against Museveni.
Well,
the message continues.
Resign from what now?
Party leadership of DP.
No, there's no problem with him leading the party. He has just been elected. I don't think that was a proper indication that those that elected him wanted him to resign. No, they had an opportunity to determine his resignation, which actually they opted out of. Now, but this notwithstanding, there are questions, and I have told you that arrangement that was signed ended up becoming a PR disaster for us. And now that is the exact understanding of the population. So you do not visit the wrongfulness of President Museveni on Norbert Mao, because he did what he was supposed to do by signing. He featured in the government, waited for bills, for amendment of laws. Up to today, we are still waiting. So I can tell you, and instead, the president started addressing the media in such a way that actually no dialogue, no transition, no what. So that is the kind of person we are talking about. I think this problem that we have in Uganda, and Honorable Katuntu made it very clear that even NRM as a party has a problem. The protagonists of the NRM primaries, those that have played a bigger part, are actually those persons without formal employment, directing persons with formal employment over what to do. Popularly referred to as the eminence gris. They are persons that would direct an RDC. They tell the DPC, this is our candidate, make sure the other one goes through. Then I can tell you, NRM is on the opposition. Government itself is using the eminence degrees. This one is in formal employment, but in trade, talking politics. Now, let me tell you.
He's a that is Philip Kakuru.
Anan is fully guarded. Who wants to kill you because of the advice you give the president? So So
that's the
Oscar.
Go for a break. and seeing that I'm a moderator and with limited time, Joseph, your comment now. But, and when Abdul, because I'll get Abdul to speak last on this one. I'll get Abdul to speak last. But listen to this one. It says Nora Oraga tells all political parties in Uganda lack ideological basis, as Abdul has said, is factually false. It is not a Ugandan problem, nor is it an African problem. All political parties are based on a particular ideology. In Uganda, being an active politics, active elective politics has been transmogrified, big words because in big days, into the search for a source of income. Politics has become the most lucrative source of income, hence the do or die nature of political campaigns in Uganda. It is the reason that political parties in Uganda have no control over the individual, who has the option of using the route of the independent to access the political route.
He has ended up saying the same thing.
Political route.
Nora has ended up saying the same thing.
To Joseph's credit, you are the only politician I know who is not rich. So you are not trying to access the political route.
No, and thank you very much. But also at the same time, I am actually also officially the politician who's actually not poor, and I've put that on the record severally. And sometimes I do that very deliberately in terms of context and origin and background.
And you're actually ideological.
And I'm fundamentally ideological, and that's why I'm here.
On that one, I agree. And optimistic.
And number two, also that Uganda People's Congress, and I deviate slightly with Abdu, but obviously we agree again that in terms of foundation for Uganda People's Congress, we are sort of the most ideologically driven political party and organization. In fact, I was having a conversation with somebody before I came on air, before we came onto the studios, that amidst all the challenges we face as UPC, it may even beat my generation, but that there will be a re-emergence of Uganda People's Congress because we are an ideologically driven and focused. Yesterday at the picking of nomination forms, I was delighted to meet a fantastic young lady who thought she would never meet me very recently, but she's one of those young 20-something-year-olds presidential candidates. But apparently she said she was inspired by me. I'm not saying this to make a good point, but I'm saying that actually she picked one of the things that I had talked about, then she started following me. And since she bumped onto Common Man's Charter, and Common Man's Charter now drives her. So we are ideologically driven, socially democratic political party and organization. The challenge for me is that we are messed up in this leadership question. And if we're not, we would really be actually providing the genuine leadership this country needs. Because in any case, when I was giving the introduction that how we got ourselves founded, I think what founded Uganda National Congress, later Uganda People's Congress, the foundations and independence, after 40 years of the manuals, the values that founded Uganda People's Congress are much more urgent today. And as a country, away from political point scoring, we will really need to review a post-Museveni Uganda so that we're able to deal with these issues that Abdul talked about. Questions of taxations, questions of public services, questions of the environment, questions of youth unemployment, broader regional and global issues. These are things that Uganda People's Congress stood for, and we stood for, and indeed we pushed. Even today we still push, and I'm sure some of our friends from outside Africa, the global north, listening, sometimes some of them get very concerned. But they need to know that, well, some of us are also exposed to some of these realities. I worked extremely hard while away with sister parties, including the British Labour Party, on many of these social issues. It's actually not uncool to discuss public service. It's not uncool to talk about youth unemployment. It's not uncool to talk about child mortality. It's not uncool to talk about provisions, health services. It's not uncool to talk about unemployment and terms and conditions of people's places at work. Okay. So it's important that we do that. But just quickly, I think I agree with Mukasa Bide, and I like the way you put it, that in DP you guys went openly, had an arrangement with Mr. Museveni, and you sort of let down. In UPC, part of the internal challenges, I think I better say it here, the deal between Jimmy and a few people with Mr. Museveni, which was informal, is part of the things breaking the party, and people are being disingenuous about it. You know, you can't have a deal one thing in the morning when Dr. Milton Obote, who's our founding father, says that which concerns all must be discussed by all. Tell us what your deal is, and if the deal is not working, please come out. That is one of the fundamental issues. But quickly, the constitutional challenges we have as an internal contradiction in Uganda People's Congress must be sorted out in such a manner that we become the exemplar going forward. We as I told you in 30 seconds, as I told you earlier, we picked nomination forms yesterday. We're waiting for court to be able to resolve these issues. We notified the EC on the basis of the pending issues in court, including matters of contempt of court. We leave it to them.
Okay.
But whatever happens, we need to be able to resolve this, because the future of this country urgently needs what Uganda People's Congress stands for, but really broadly across the political divide.
Yeah.
Oscar, my brother Wandera, I don't know whether it was an editorial policy. They chose him to cover National Unity Platform. So he's more conversant with what happened in National Unity Platform. But next time you come and cover NRM, so that you have a fairer and more balanced.
You need to speak to his editor.
More balanced understanding of what happened, because you deliberately choose to distort information. You know that last time there was a lockup. The campaign was done during a lockup. Even people who gathered people during rallies was a violation of the law. And now you are here saying that he entered the Kampala and he was alone. It was not the people who were chiding him who had been arrested. There was a lockup with regulations. As a journalist,
were they arrested or not?
As a journalist, you should be giving the facts, so that
it's a fact they were arrested.
Emmanuel, go to the microphone. Go to the microphone.
And then our friends, the interventions that we have done as a political party, and I want to give assurance to the people. You see, we had a president of the Ghetto some time back. Who was he?
Okay, we know him. If
somebody
you've forgotten him,
was the president of the Ghetto, and President Museveni is not the president of the Ghetto. President Museveni is the president of Uganda,
including the Ghetto.
And under the Uganda, we have the Ghetto, we have NUP, we have UPC, and we have all the citizens of Uganda for whom he is responsible as the chief executive of this country to create an environment for everybody to survive. One of the biggest challenges in Kampala has been security. And the Ghetto, when you get to the Ghetto, by the way, some of you have not gone to the Ghetto. You go down there, it is a completely different world. They have a different language. They have structure of leadership which is not understood. They have
the Republic of Kawempe.
And some of the languages now people are beginning to borrow it. They say those things come from somewhere else. So if you're a caring government and you just ignore those people and you don't know that this will become a security matter, you are making a mistake. That's why Damulira, that's why Mejahu, Emma, that's why they are responsible, because they must create stability and peace for you to survive. That's why we're enjoying. then finally, finally, there are people here who don't know that NRM has an ideology, because the ideology is the compass which directs actions of the political parties. What is the basis of the actions that you take? Ours is very deliberate and has been authored. It is written. It is taught in Changwanzi. We shall take to peace people to Changwanzi.
You should join us on Monday. We should see it in how you conduct business. It's not about talking about it.
I'm inviting him to come to Changwanzi on Monday.
Maybe to teach.
Ugandans, I encourage you to be patriotic, because out of patriotism, then we care for one another, we care for our country, and you come to know that you survive because your friend is surviving. Me, in my place in Butareja, I have some few cows, I sell milk. But I must respect the people who come to me to buy my little milk. When it expands, it will create a better and bigger economy. But because the economy we're running here is not enough, we need to expand our market, our influence, but also expand our security by investing in Pan-Africanism. When we do that, then you look at the welfare of the people of Uganda, the Ghetto, the people you are talking about. That's why we have socio-economic transformation. The last one has had its own challenges, most especially during the recent primary elections. The democracy. There are things that are very, very annoying and at times are shaming to come and talk about. But the other day, I listened to my mother, the mother of the country, the first lady, giving a speech in Ntungamo about what transpired during the primary elections. It has been trending on social media. So nobody is happy about the bad things that were done. About the things that were done. She's the chairperson, but the elections in Ntungamo only took place the other day. So, on the bad things, we condemn them, and that's why people are in prison today. We have party registrars that have been arrested. We have party officials have been arrested. The fight against corruption, we have public servants who are recently arraigned before the courts of law. So NRM is trying to do its best within what is available. And I'll call on my brothers that don't break the law. Where we disagree, let us disagree in a decent manner, like we're doing here on the platform. When I get here, I can hug my brother Katana. But when you get out and the people are watching, people try to distance away because that's a new ideology that has emerged. That by abusing somebody heavily, that's when you prove to the people that you agree.
Thank you. Let's pause for a quick break. In peace.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
We'll come back from our final break. Abdul, you'll have to conclude this topic. And we're going to talk about UCAA. About the person who's been charged, but I've also dug up some more, thanks to Derek Wandera, that there are 82 that were dismissed, but maybe we'll keep that for another day because we cannot finish a program on doom and gloom. We'll go to Chan. So your conclusion, and is Busoga informed? I don't know whether it's Abdul, you are the one Busoga informed.
No. Yeah. I'm Busoga disinformed.
They are still on Miday's case. So at Midday and his boss at Norbert Mao, as lawyers, you listen to it, as lawyers, they do not know what to do if a breach of contract takes place. Abdul, conclude the topic.
Okay. As a lawyer, I might say if a breach of contract takes place, the first thing you do is mediation before you go to conflict resolution in disputes and courts and so on. Yes. You know, I want to say one thing. This country belongs to all of us, and that's why.
We hope so.
It is. I do get excited when I'm talking to people like my brother Dom. Maybe it's because of our history that we've been together for quite long. That yes, he could be speaking for the NRM Secretariat, but at the same time, he's a little bit candid when he says something is wrong, which will affect all of us. So. Nobody should celebrate that I have stolen a vote. Nobody should celebrate that we've clobbered people, and that's why I've been declared a winner. You can't afford to do that. And we are we'll be equally victims if this situation continues to degenerate. But the situation is not all that lost. I do think that as many of us get older and age out, the younger people will realize that in our history we've had these challenges. And these have been the problems of us as leaders. We have not done enough to unite our people. We have not done enough to lift our people out of poverty. And it is their role now. These unnecessary fights, quarrels we've had, they should be able to outlive them. That's the only thing we can do. But that should be deliberate. The UPC I belong to, at one time it helped. It had a deliberate policy of bringing up specific leaders. That's why you eventually got people like Olalo Tunu, people like Rugunda, people like Mutevire, and so on. And they were all over the country. There was no tribe about it. There was no religion about it. And those people, even when they eventually ended up whether in NRM and so on, you would still see clear-headed people because they had been properly groomed. Parties, especially you guys, the Honorable Dombo, who is now in leadership parties, Mr. Katana here, and Mr. Mbide, Honorable Mbide here, you need just to start grooming people. And this pettiness of leader, this backwardness. You start, preaching sectarianism. We need politics based on ideology and correct thinking.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's try and end this show more positively, beginning with you.
Well, at least this was half positive.
Not much. Not much. So, Honorable Domba, have you taken footballs to, last week people were saying, in the past you used to take footballs to your former school and all. Is it in your program? Are you guys seeing how Uganda is performing now?
Well, Oscar, there is no better place to be right now in Uganda. To see the demonstrated unity and how people talk and think alike
than Nambole.
True.
When you go to Nambole and you see how patriotic Ugandans can be in supporting their team, then you begin saying that NRM is doing good work. Because
now you want to spoil it. In Monday's match, they were wearing yellow. So when the match started, I was so worried because the last time we lost, they were in
put
yellow.
on yellow, we lost the game.
But this time we won.
We lost the game. But I want to congratulate our young people, especially the players and the leaders and the managers of the team. One of the tweets which was put up and made me laugh on the first match when we lost. The president had made a very good pledge to the team that whenever they meet, whenever they win, they would be winning, earning something like 1.2 billion shillings. And when we lost, somebody tweeted and said the president himself is very clever.
He knew we were going to lose.
He had spent an outcome and made a pledge. Now, when we won the two successive matches,
what did he say?
The same person who was tweeting, I watched and said, but did he pay the first one? Now, that is how interesting the country can be.
No, there's another said, did he say when he will pay?
So Magogo and team, they will be updating the country on what has happened. But we thank the president for the pledge that he made, the young people for the support, and the Ugandans for turning up.
Yes.
Because every time they have shown the turn up, we have been about 35,000. This is tremendous. I want to pledge that, inshallah, on Monday, we must all get to the South African game so that we see what happens. A few were there cheering Niger yesterday against South Africa for obvious reasons. Because of the mathematics.
That's football. That's the world of football.
But on Monday we should be there to see what exactly happens. I mean, I want the Ugandans, and in the Monday match, somebody tried to put up a portrait of one of the aspirants in Uganda, and you should have seen how the public reacted. To say we are not here for politics, we have.
This is a safe place.
This is a safe place. You want to do your politics elsewhere, but let us be here and support the Cranes. And to me, this is a call I would call on everybody. Let us go and support the Cranes, and let politics learn something. Politicians learn something.
Thank you from
those people down there.
Have you been to Nambole yet?
No, I haven't been to Nambole, but I've been very, very closely following everything. By the way, on a very good note, the Taifa Stars of Tanzania, the Harambee Stars of Nairobi, and the Cranes of Uganda are all doing very, very tremendously. The Taifa Stars and Harambee Stars have already gone through the group stages. They are just waiting for the knockout stages.
So
and
we
are hoping,
small matter of Monday.
Yeah, we are hoping that the small matter of Monday just passes by us, and we wait for the big achievement. But what I can say is, social media is social media. After we lost our first game, someone went on Twitter and said, I have never seen patriotic people like the Uganda Cranes. They saved the country 1.2 billion. But yeah, Uganda Cranes is really performing well. We hope that we can go past South Africa to become. We are top on table, right at least of now. We have 6
Eco
points.
Games now.
Yeah, with Eco Games we have 6 points, and the rest have four. 4-5 and stuff. And hopefully tomorrow against South Africa, who are not an easy team though.
No.
Very, very tactical and pacey at that. We hope that we can go past them.
Yeah. Joseph, for once you're going to watch some football. It is screened on UBC TV, and Monday, 8 p.m., we are looking for your support.
Oh, the national team is the national team.
They have a red shirt, but they've not won it yet.
No, because maybe I hope they're not politicizing it. We built foundations for this country. Not to politicize it. We are having a conversation the other day about whether or not a Ministry of Sports should be linked with education. Under UPC, James Ranyarare was the lead minister, and it was Minister of Culture and Community Development, under which sports did come. These guys are doing well. We hope they go through. Football normally brings people together across the country, across the world. But that said, I played in P6 at my primary school, Nagongara Boys, and I scored the only goal against Nagongara Seminary, which was a secondary school, and they beat us 6-1.
What a memory.
That you can imagine how traumatic. But that taught me that we need to invest in schools, we need to invest in sports. And Emmanuel, while we go through this, I think part of the homework should also be about where the Ugandan crane team is staying. I've seen some of those on social media. We don't want to be heavily critical. I think that is a sad story. But beyond that, the business of selling schools are to dubious businesses. That's an ideological issue. And the business of selling football spaces. Nagongara Boys had two speeches. At the moment is one. Pressures across the country. We can't enjoy the success without investing in the early stages, both in schools and communities. Nor should we do so without remembering that UPC had plans for Bugembe Stadium to be the next, and then one in Bale, and then every sub-regional stages. Emmanuel will be saying that after 40 years, we're looking at it like that. Beyond this, we need to make sure it's a matter of priority. It's not politics. It's the thing that traditionally brings all nations together.
Benjamin Katana.
May I just correct one impression?
Have you now become Benjamin Katana?
I also got concerned initially, but Honorable Magogo was here in the studio, and he also treated and explained to the people of Uganda. The matches are organized by the CAF, the Confederation of African Football. They are the ones who decide where teams should stay, and they pay for them. Cranes to stay in their isolated hotel was a choice of the team because they wanted seclusion. They could have been put in a Serena. They could have been put anywhere because that is the responsibility of CAF. But the Cranes chose that they wanted to be somewhere where they'd be able to do their private things in Kisasi.
Thank you.
So that I don't know whether they make some savings out of it, but it is something that
probably
they
not.
chose
But
themselves.
Benjamin,
thank you very much.
Uganda
Yes. Quite interesting to see that Uganda is advancing. Hopefully that we are able to qualify for the second round, the quarterfinals.
You know that's our target because we've never been.
Yes, we were at some point.
No.
In 1970 something.
No, that was a different. That was
yes.
Dispensation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but the point is that
I intend to go when we qualify.
Yeah, it is quite interesting and exciting, and to bring two things. One is that and people are always here talking about patriotism. I think it was at a display, and nobody was being forced to exhibit patraiotism. Not paid. And it should be a lesson
no 10,000, no 20,000, no Waraji.
No Waraji, no 10,000. So it should be a lesson to the people who run this country to know that Ugandans, contrary to their continuous gaslighting, Ugandans love their country. But when they call out your bad manners, it doesn't mean that they have now stopped loving their country. Number two, we, as a country, we need to invest more in talent development, not just in sports, but now sports is the one under spotlight, football is the one under spotlight. But countries that have developed through such interventions like investment in talent development, that we are able to export skilled people to go and play football, to go and run in big numbers, that we are able to earn a lot of money for the country and use it to transform our country. But also to give people an opportunity, if you are a good boxer, to be supported and be international. And this support can go through schools, through communities, having sports academies. And I've seen very few individuals who have come up with, I saw the one of Muji Bukasora and the rest. And I think as a country, we need to have deliberate interventions to support those initiatives so that we are able...
You know, Benjamin, Uganda is looking good on the sporting front because last month, Uganda hosted an international rugby series. Very good news world over. Then we had the Pearl of Africa cricket 2020. We also had that. So, and these were supported by Uganda government. So
even you remember the boxing match between Foreman and it took place in Congo, not because Congo at that time was advancing. But my point is that they shouldn't these identify. My point is that it shouldn't be these just few examples, but deliberate efforts that are aimed at supporting initiatives in areas of talent development. Not just these events are very big, they are very important for promoting the country and tourism and things like that. But in addition to that, we need to have deliberate interventions that are aimed at developing and upscaling talent.
Okay, Abdul.
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate the boys. I think they have made this country proud. But quite importantly, we also need to salute the administrators of the sport. To bring a team of younger players to this level, as you know, Chan is for locally best players. And they have that talent and have shown it the continent. I hope scouts are all over the place looking at who can easily be picked, and who knows, tomorrow it may end up in La Liga. Yes, we are 2 years yet too far. So we need just pray and make sure that nothing goes wrong on the last day. As you know, this would be very sweet revenge against South Africa. It has really punished us for so long. We need really just to beat them up. Where I see it, I see a lot of now reasonable money going into sports federations. The minister is now getting some reasonable money. All federations, by the way, sports is not about only football. It has got squash, it has got rugby, it has got cricket and so on. And now there's some money which is being budgeted to the National Council of Sports to make sure that these federations are allocated some money. But as you know, because of the bad manners of some Ugandans, you end up hearing stories when money has gone to the federations. So we hope those who administer these funds, they use it properly, and we bring up this talent. Do we have a chance? Yes, a very, very realistic chance. And now we don't want to say, oh, Nairobi and Dar es Salaam have already qualified, then it is us. Because when you look at the quality between Tanzanian football and Kenyan football, yes, we are more or less the same, really. We can't say on this one, this federation is a little bit better than us.
Doesn't Tanzania seem a little bit ahead of us?
The clubs, the 2 clubs in Tanzania, seem to be better organized and so on. But clubs, yes, government may support them, but it's purely private initiative, those investors who put up money there. You see, I want to talk about one thing in 2 minutes or 2 seconds. One is, what is this that unites this country? Today, sports has seen that we have things that can unite us, and we can come together and minimize those that can divide us. Sports is the best ambassador you ever have. You saw these countries in West Africa, Oscar. You just have only one player, and everybody is talking about that country because of one single player. So to me, we who are managing this country should pick the lessons. Yes, it's very hard, especially we the current ones, to pick good lessons, but we have no choice on this one. We need to pick the lessons, invest in skills of these younger people, which should just go down. You know, when you have football, which is very competitive, you know, whether at primary level, when we are younger, we used to have that. Fierce ones. Regional level, say Uganda is going to play against Northern Uganda or West Nile or Dung Paraka, and they fight. That is okay. That is okay. It gives out the morale and people put in money. It's about pride. Yeah. Like in Uganda, I see this Vika football. Masaza, is it Masaza?
Vika.
It does the sort of enthusiasm you need. The Uganda have done extremely well. Say Nchima is going to beat Chivea, and you see all of the Nchima people and these BBs. They're all trying to make sure that they get on top.
You know, Abdul, we on the school front, we sponsor a local tournament, and we get something like 800 students together. We call it the Taiba Independence Tournament, and yeah, so it's right. It attracts all of them, and very powerful. But district governor, who you know very well, instructed me at that time. I always say that I'm a Rotarian, and midday here will add to that. We have the Rotary Cancer Run that is also apolitical, and I'll bring the shirts here as soon as you give me money for your shirts, because it is at the end of this one.
The shirts, we shall give you the money.
Hey.
Do they have my size?
They will have your size. They will have your
Oscar, I wanted to give just some little information.
Size, I can tell you it is small.
No, the size of
the size of bring a smaller size shirt.
Every time we go to Chankwanzi, getting a size that fits me at times is a challenge. We have to combine two uniforms in order to get out one.
Oscar, we were wondering between Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania how we are faring. I just scribbled down a little bit of stuff, and I've found out that Uganda is actually the best in the region.
Wow.
In FIFA rankings.
Wow.
We are 90th. Wow. Kenya is 102nd. Tanzania is 110th. Sudan 120th, and
Sudan.
Yes, and Rwanda is 130th. So yeah, so yeah, Uganda we are actually we are up there. Yeah.
Great information. Honorable Mukasambide.
Yes, I equally associate myself with the colleagues that have stated and congratulated the Cranes yet for where we are in terms of this churn. I am also...
And by the way, I have a message on X here, formerly Twitter, saying that tickets are officially sold out.
Yeah, by yesterday.
Wow.
By yesterday already sold out.
Spending money.
Yes.
People, but not only buying tickets, but even walking on foot from town to Nambole.
It involves a lot of walking because of the traffic.
Yes. But also, I think the trust in which Ugandans have in terms of the participants, let us call them employees, the sportsmen, the method by which they get there has nothing to do with the unqualified getting there. So Ugandans know that
they don't have to give them waragi.
Yes,
to play football,
and you don't have to speak a specific language in order for you to show up at the pitch. So Ugandans know that whoever is a player is actually a qualified player. Yeah. If they actually thought so in terms of the other occupants of political office, they would still be patriotic, Honorable Dom. So patriotism here also must be looked at using the lenses of qualification.
For tribe, you looked at Katana. Political officers, you looked at Dombo. We have been watching you.
And when it came to football, he looked at me.
And for brotherhood, he looked at me.
Yes. So also the country needs to be, I think government needs to be empowered to strengthen the mechanism of remuneration in terms of sports that is actually reliable. The president has now talked of the remuneration by way of betting, 1.2 billion. I don't know how we arrived at that figure. But I think we need something that is...
Betting, there is no formula. you just put a figure.
Yes. I wish our players knew right from childhood what you obtain when you play so well, up to when you actually retire. to the extent then that we would have those who have retired as an inspiration to those upcoming in sports, because it is really lucrative in nature, and that is some area that government should look at. Yes.
Thank you so much to the listeners of the Capital Gang. Thank you, Star Cafe, for powering the gang. I got in a little bit late. Abdu, you have missed out. The people, what they did to the things here. They all sat in the studio and feasted.
I saw Joseph. All the evidence I can see, Joseph was really.
Because he came early. He came early, yes.
I had to do that. I am the socialist, the most modest.
Yeah.
But I must say that for the first time, indeed, in a very long time, we had the second bout of coffee.
Yeah.
So the coffee providers have done well.
Star Cafe, thank you.
Fantastic.
But I was going to say, Joseph, that they continuing with the good news theme. You are the only presidential candidate we have in the studio, so I should give you last word. Trouble is, it's only 2 minutes, so you have to squeeze everything in.
The presidential candidate comes in.
The
premier is here this weekend.
I really hope that our matter in Uganda People's Congress is resolved soon and formally. The matter of contempt of court and other issues and the pending determination.
How can we help with that?
Is due. It's a matter for the judicial process, and so there's not much. And as I said, as far as the Electoral Commission are concerned, we've written to them. My fantastic lawyers, actually, the Biamukam and Company Advocates, fantastic legal team.
We have 3 lawyers in the studio.
The made representation. Not of course as much as these two guys here, 2 colleagues of mine. And by the way, 3 colleagues of mine actually.
Katana is also a lawyer.
Yeah, and by the way, I looked for Abdu at the time, and we fantastic guys.
No, I wouldn't have represented
my team.
Not even given you advice.
My team are fantastic.
That would be a conflict of interest.
You see, there you go. But a fantastic team doing the work. So we're waiting for that. But whatever happens, I really hope that the lesson from Uganda People's Congress is that we need to be able to respect the party constitution, we need to respect the national constitution, and that politics of leadership should really be on the basis of what members decide rather than self-entitlement or impunity. That should really go for UPC and all other political parties and organizations.
And one quickly, positive sentence as we finish.
Once that is quickly resolved, we will be able to present
positive sentence that you want to tell your fans out there listening to you today.
No, that I'm delighted that I've met many young people coming in, and they're inspired by the work we are doing. That UPC will definitely have a candidate, and the majority of the people are predominantly young people whom we are mobilizing and recruiting, like Abdu said of us. Well, we want to make sure that we finish the job that started at independence.
Thank you, Joseph. Yes. I'm in a position, I've never supported UPC, so sometimes
I've always been very sad. I've always been very sad.
And I like both Joseph Ocheno and Jimmy Akena, but we hope for the best. So thank you very much, Honorable Katuntu,
my
Honorable
father's
Dombo,
party should not be in court.
Honorable Mbide, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Kakuru, Senior Presidential Advisor. Thank you, Benjamin Katana, and thank you, Derek Wandera. Thank you, Star Cafe. I think it is Dance Force coming on next. Don't switch off Capital FM. I am. They're telling me the correct one. It is Rough Cuts by DJ Noe, and Rough is spelled R-U
by DJ Noe.
Okay.
And I'm going to deputize him today.
Oh. It is RUFF. So I am Oscar Semoyamsoke, and I shall see you next week.